Camelia and Brookdale Gia were off to a fabulous start over the first couple of days. Let's check in and see how their first week has gone.
Well, she's coming along pretty well. We've kind of just been working on the same things. Just getting her to lunge a little bit longer now, and kind of work through her paces to start building up some muscle. Oh yes, it's hard. Oh my. I am finding now, after a week of working, she's starting to get a little bit sore. So we're not really working too hard. It's more just getting her mind to kind of pick things up. And after probably the first maybe 4 or 5 days, I worked her every day. Now I'm kind of just doing more every second day, and giving her some time in between to rest. I mean, still really not working very hard, but I'm assuming, considering she's only 12 and she's had 5 foals, that she's been hanging out in a pasture for a while now. So we're just working slowly on building up some muscle. Stand up. She's starting to, in the indoor she's okay, but anytime we go out into the outdoor, it's a little bit rockier. And then on the driveway and the gravel, she's pretty tender-footed, so I will be getting her some shoes. She should be okay with just fronts, but we'll see. And then once she does have those on, and we've got steering, we'll probably start doing some trail riding at the walk, to help her build some muscle. Yeah, she's taken this new career pretty well. She's definitely got spots that she's not really a bit sure about things yet. But yeah, she really doesn't mind. I've just got kind of usually I'd start a horse in a full cheek. But I mean, she's from the track, so steering shouldn't be awful. I mean, she should know what a bit is. So I've just got a D-ring in instead. It's just double jointed, with a little copper roller in the middle to give her something to play with if she wants. Yeah, she's good so far. But I do have that, it's almost the same bit, it just has a full cheek, so if we do run into any sticky steering problems, I'll probably just throw that in, to give me a little bit more support. Yeah, so that's kind of where we start. We just we breeze through the same groundwork exercises, do some lunging. Right now it's really only about 10 minutes. I find when she gets tired, she gets a little fumbly with her feet. So I'm keeping her kind of working enough that she's still building up some stamina and muscle, but I don't want to push her too far because we've only got 60 days, so it's not like we can take a whole lot of time off. I'm just trying to think of what else we've been doing here. Yeah, I don't know. She's just been a good girl overall. Oh, her canter. I started the canter free lunging just in the indoor. Most of our work has been done in the indoor right now because I don't have a round pen or anything. So this is the most like closed in area, I guess. We do have the outdoor, which is fenced in, but there's a lot. We're right beside a road, so and there are some draft horses across the street that she sees through the trees, and I think they're kind of spooking her a little bit. So we've done most of our work in here. Once we've got a few more rides in here, we'll head outside and start to see what's going on out there. But so far she's doing really well. Oh yeah, canter. Started it free lunging and just kind of sending her down the long side. And then as soon as she caught it, just would let her take a break. And now she's mostly figured out that the kiss means pick up a canter. She doesn't hold it for too long. We're kind of working on like holding it for a full circle, and then I kind of let her fall apart a little bit. Because I don't want to get into the habit of holding her in it constantly. I want her to take a little bit of responsibility for herself. And she really is struggling with keeping the gait because she's not really used to activating those muscles. So yeah, and then it's kind of a fine line. We're also working on going into the canter. I don't want her to rush too much into it because then she's sort of falling into a pace. So we're trying to keep the canter very relaxed. And if she's too stiff in the canter, or when I ask her to, she kind of like glues her front legs and her hind legs together, and she like does a weird deer impersonation. So, but if she's relaxed, she lets her hind legs flow a little bit more, and it's a lot prettier. So that's kind of what we're working on. And I feel like that's probably I think our biggest disadvantage is that she's pretty under-muscled. She's a really great weight, but she's really under-muscled. Yeah, that's kind of what we're working with. Still super sweet. She's the first one to come to the gate every time I show up. She just wants to come and be part of this adventure. Yeah, we're just taking everything really slow. But she's not being difficult by any means. She's really taking to everything. And she's not really giving me any trouble. So the only thing is keeping a boundary with her, right? Because she can be a little bit pushy. And as much as I want to just go love on her, I don't want her pushing me around. And then same thing with the leading, is just making her respect my boundary, which she's doing really well. So that's what we've been doing. Anyway, we're gonna go put her second ride on her here, and hopefully that goes as nicely as the first one. But I guess we'll see. The only thing I'm gonna be looking out for really I'm gonna do it pretty much exactly the same thing. The only thing I'm gonna look out for from her is to make sure she's standing still at the mounting block. Because yesterday she didn't really, or last time I got on her, she didn't really know what I was about to do. So this time I want to make sure that she stands still, even though she's going to have an idea that I'm about to get on her back. I've still just got my lines hooked to her halter here. And I will for the first few rides for sure. Just because if anything does worry her and she throws in some bucks or jumps forward or anything like that, I don't want to catch her in the mouth. I'd much rather just catch my halter, because that's what we've been working on with her ground.
Our Winner's Circle sponsor of the 2024 Reinventing Racehorses Challenge is Manitoulin Resort. This gorgeous resort is located on the beautiful shores of Lake Manitou. Guests can choose between 6 deluxe housekeeping cottages, a bunkie for those who like to glam, or a camping vacation. To book your reservation, call 705-859-3550.
Good girl. Very nice. Good man. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Yes. Good try. Yes. 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 Yes, good girl. Good girl. Yes. Good. Yes. Oh, Mare. Good girl. You are sweet. Come on, in frame. Yeah. Yeah, so second ride, really awesome. That's all I really want from her, is just halt when I ask her to halt, back up when I ask her to back up, move off when I ask her to move off. And at this point, it's putting together the cluck and the leg together. So she starts to associate leg with moving forward. So what you'll have noticed there is I'm riding in split reins so that if I cluck to her and she doesn't move off, I'm just going to give her a little tap on the flank with the split rein, because that would make more sense to her than kicking her in the gut, right? Because we've been working on lunging. If she doesn't move off when I tell her to move on the lunge, she gets a slap on the bum. So it's the same, like you kind of have to keep everything as predictable as possible, so that there's no point where she's like, oh, I have no idea what the answer is here, so I'm gonna act out about it, right? So yeah, just keeping everything really predictable for her and simple. Yeah, and then kind of getting her to start to loosen up in her neck a little bit. Because I want her, at some point, she's gonna have to learn to start to lift her back and carry herself a little bit more. And she's not gonna be able to do that if she's constantly tense through her head and neck to balance herself. So I'm starting to just introduce like flexing over to one side or the other, and just kind of loosening her up a little bit. But that's also to help a little bit with the steering, because I want her to follow her nose, right? Yeah, so she's doing really well. Yeah, I know, sweet thing. I know. Yeah. And our stall's on the other side of this camera, so so every time I let her go, she's like, oh, let's go over to my stall and see if there's any snacks in there. She's very food motivated. Yes, yes, oh my goodness, yes, yes. Oh God. She's a really good horse so far. I'm really pleased with her. But yeah, so hopefully once we get a pair of shoes on her, she'll be more comfortable. And we'll be able to take her out on the trails and get her working a little bit more. The other thing is she's not used to doing those small circles, right? So frankly, I'm not surprised at all that she's getting a little bit sore. And it's not like super obvious, it's just when she's traveling in the circle, she's kind of heavy on her front end, and not strutting out quite as much as she was like the first couple days I had her. So yeah, I'm not that worried about it, but hopefully in a week or two she'll get a little bit more used to the workload, and she'll be feeling ready to go. Yeah, that's the other reason I want to get her out on the trails and just walking, is because I want her to be able to do lots of just like moving forward, and not as much circling. Right? Because that'll be a little bit easier on her to just go straight. Yeah, so excited for that, but so far I'm really happy. She's doing a really good job. And yeah, and she's not terribly unhappy about this. As long as she gets a treat every once in a while, she's pretty game for anything. Yeah. Anyways, excited to see what next week brings.